Ever wondered how AI is changing quality control and quality assurance in the high volume manufacturing world, from chocolate bars to candy production? Well, Maneva is leading the way, and today we're going to learn from their CEO how they're making it happen. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to yet another episode of the AIP podcast. Once again, I'm Anne, the CEO of Supercharge Lab, and your host for today's episode. And we're excited, super excited to welcome Ray Jeong, who is the co founder of Maneva, with us today. Now, Ray brings a wealth of experience from his time at Google DeepMind to the world of AI automation. Maneva, which is founded in Toronto in October 2021, is on a mission to revolutionizing the manufacturing world through AI agents that enhance efficiencies, minimize downtime, and elevate quality standards. With a growing customer base across Ontario, Quebec, and beyond, Maneva is making global impact with its innovative solutions. So, welcome, Ray.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Ray, thanks so much for joining us. Maybe you can start by sharing with us a little bit about your journey from Google DeepMind and how you came from such an amazing background and then founding Maneva, and what's this big vision that you have for your company?
Yeah, of course. And I'll even back up a little bit more because so I was originally born in South Korea, but I grew up in this town called Leduc, Alberta. It's a small industrial town, and it's basically I was surrounded by these foundational industries, like manufacturing from a very young age, before I went off to study mechatronics engineering at University of Waterloo. And after studying at Waterloo, I, as you mentioned, worked as a AI researcher at Google DeepMind, and it's just an incredible place. I mean, I think I've met the most talented people there, pursuing, I think, some of the most important missions and research that's needed in the field of AI. But while I was at DeepMind, contributing to some of these critical research, I couldn't shake the feeling that industries like manufacturing were kind of held back and a little bit neglected when it comes to entering into the age of AI. So that was when I had a true calling towards how this is something that I could really work on that will be fulfilling, and that I can, give back to the world in terms of having a meaningful impact. So that's when I founded Maneva to build what we call video understanding AI for any manufacturing process in every factory. And the reason for that is because we believe that video and AI are going to be the keys to solving some of the most challenging problems in manufacturing, all the way from the ones that you talked about, quality, and the ones that we'll talk about shortly. But that was kind of the journey that I took in from DeepMind to starting Maneva.
That's amazing. And you're focused on revolutionizing the manufacturing industry. Now, let's talk a little bit about the problems of manufacturing. It's a legacy business, but
Yeah.
really, what does Maneva really address? What problems do you really try to challenge the status quo?
Sure. And I think it would be useful to have a little bit of context for the audience as well, where some of the shocking figures for me was that I believe more than 60% of manufacturers still rely on pen and paper for critical tasks. Meanwhile, like we talked about, the rest of the world is moving at a blazing speed. Like, I believe more than 50% of global data traffic is actually video now. So for us, when it comes to helping out the manufacturers, it of course wasn't starting with the technology, but to understand what they're going through. So a typical manufacturer would care about three things. So one is quality, the second is automation, and third is downtime mitigation. So that basically means that you want to produce great stuff that's relatively automated, without having these kind of unforeseen downtime as much as possible. So what we went off to do is actually to tailor our product to be able to solve all these cases. So, we have a wonderful customer of ours that's out in Quebec, producing some amazing chocolate. And we would be helping out with applications that are all the way in the obvious end of checking for chocolate's quality, of if there's smudges or cracks or things that we need to check. And we're checking every single one of the chocolate that's produced there. So that's a relatively obvious use case for AI, all the way to something that's completely non-obvious. So there's something called a pallet, which is like a little wooden plate that everything, the forklift lifts up, that everything is moved around. And we basically check what's on the pallet to be able to send the right code to the wrapping machine so they can be wrapped properly. So something that's completely non-obvious, that's crucial in terms of automating their workflows, and mitigating downtime, that we're able to help out with, and basically everything in between.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about computer visioning in defect detection, specifically in manufacturing. There are so many solutions in the market right now. So how is your solution different?
Yeah, that's right. And it's a good thing that we had a lot of this great computer vision technology that existed previously that was able to help out industries like automotive and consumer electronics. But what's really different now is that for us, Maneva, our focus is having it very adaptable and very, very simple. So we're actually just a pure AI software company, which means that we work with any off-the-shelf camera. So our customers don't need any custom hardware, any specific lighting, or any modification to their plant. And that's really, really, really huge because we just tell our customers that you can just point the camera to whatever process that you want Maneva to see, and Maneva software automatically starts collecting data and learns from it. So that's been a big shift in the product core values that we're able to bring to the industry. And from a technology and AI algorithm perspective, we're bringing to the market what's called continual learning. So this is where the AI adapts over time, and by collecting and learning from the data that it sees. So what's really key is that with all the AI models that we've deployed in all these factories, none of them are identical to one another, and none of them stay static because they're always learning. And this is such a crucial component that didn't exist before to help out industries like manufacturing, where it's very dynamic and complex.
That's amazing. And I've frequently been hearing this, that the manufacturing world is, the graveyard of good intentions, in the sense that there have been so many expensive failed projects, especially in high volume manufacturing. When it becomes high value manufacturing, of course, I think some of the players would have a little bit more bandwidth to fail, but not so much. How's your business model different, specifically from the traditional project-driven implementation model?
And that's a really, really great point because currently manufacturers today have to allocate $1 million, $10 million for an equipment with a 10-year ROI. So they're waiting 10 years to break even. And it'll require basically tearing down part of the plant to bring in a new equipment, which also causes downtime. So one of the key things that we're able to provide is, again, Maneva is extremely non-invasive, very, very scalable, and it avoids all the physical hassles that you have to take into account when adopting a new solution, because you can just mount our camera anywhere. It doesn't require any complexity to the integration. But going to your question more about the business model, we also have a business model that is, it coincides with the value that we provide from the technology perspective. So we provide our software as AI as a service model, like a software as a service model. So that allows the customers to just pay a monthly fee for utilizing our AI. And what that really means for the bottom line for our clients is that they're able to get an ROI in the matter of months or weeks, because you just have to kind of get started by paying for what you're using rather than having to think about it as an investment. They can think about it as a true immediate ROI in improving their operations. And some of those things we're able to offer because now we have this very unique capability where we're able to deploy our AI models completely remotely. Now, don't get me wrong, we love visiting factories. We visit factory all the time. I was just there last week as well, visiting our client. But having the capability to be able to ship out new software completely remotely, that's just a game changer, right? So because that doesn't require any expensive on-site or delay in terms of enterprise support that we need to have the clients whenever they're having an issue. So we're really working together with the customers to help them operate their plant, and we're able to do a lot of those components completely remotely.
That is amazing. And you're absolutely right. That is truly a game changer. It's coming up to the last question for our time for this podcast today. What's your vision? What's on the horizon for Maneva for the next 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, what we'd love to do is just to work and help out with more and more customers, right? We have now customers in Toronto and in Quebec as well, but now we've actually expanded to Chicago, New Mexico, and Georgia in terms of the plants that we're operated in. So we really want to help our manufacturers when it comes to, just getting them, the AI that they need. And we're really excited to launch our product, Maneva AI, which has four modules like we talked about: Maneva Quality, Maneva Mechanic, Maneva Automate, and Maneva Safety, which I think has that enterprise level support that the manufacturer needs to be able to tackle any problems that they have now with Maneva AI.
That's amazing. Well, Ray, thank you so much for sharing your insights on how Maneva can stand out in this crazy sea of manufacturing AI solutions. To our audience, once again, if you've enjoyed this episode, please like, follow, and share it with your peers, your friends, your boss. Your support helps all of us bring the more valuable content and exciting guests to the show. Thank you so much for being part of this session, Ray. My name is Cheng, CEO of Supercharge Lab, and your host on behalf of the AI Partnerships Corp, signing off.